Testing. Testing, testing.
Brian, are we good? Okay. We'll start as soon as you're set.
Recording in progress.
All right, the time is now 6:10. We'll go ahead and call the board meeting to order. Roll call has been taken, and we'll stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. All right, now we'll move on to 3, which is to review, revise, and approve tonight's agenda. Is there a motion to approve the agenda as written? Moved by Trustee Wallach, second by Trustee Wake. Any public comment on this agenda item? All those in favor for approving the agenda as written, please indicate yes by raising your hand. Unanimous to all trustees present. And now we'll move on to approve the regular board meeting minutes of June 25th, 2025. Is there a motion to approve those minutes? Moved by Trustee Wake, second by Vice Chair Afgares. Any public comment on this agenda item? All those in favor for approving the regular meeting minutes of June 25th, 2024, please indicate yes by raising your hand. Unanimous to all trustees present. So now we'll move on to item 5, which is public comment. The public comment portion of the meeting is set aside for the public to address the board as a body. It is not time for board response or for the public to ask questions. Do not infringe on the right of privacy of others. Please sign in and spell your first and last name. Comments are limited to 3 minutes per speaker. Their chair may interrupt or terminate an individual speaker if the statements are out of order or over 3 minutes. Any public comment?
We do have a few folks here to make public comment tonight. The first speaker is Porter Hammett. Please sign in and then turn the microphone on and say and spell your name.
On? All right, there we go. Hello. Porter Hammett here. Last name is Hammitt. First name Porter, Porter. thank you very much for providing this opportunity for public comment. I know you get some rousing sessions of comment sometimes, so this may be one tonight. I'm here in support of a group that's working towards implementing or encouraging you all to implement a phone-free policy in the schools, district-wide, smartphones or cell phones, how we want to regard them. But I'll just quickly ask everybody to stand up that's here to support us tonight. We were going to do that. So we have some comments for you. So I know this is a non-agenda item. I've been a long-time educator. I ran an outdoor education business called MOLA, or Missoula Outdoor Learning Adventures, for about 25 years, and worked with kids before that for a total of 30 years. I have 2 high schoolers, and my wife is a teacher. I got a whole bunch of friends that are teachers. And I think what we're all going to tell you tonight, and what I think we all know in our societies, is the phones are a problem throughout the lives of our kids, and for many of us as well, but in the schools in particular. And we really want to encourage you all to start moving towards a phone-free policy in schools. So I say that for several reasons. But I think first and foremost, or most importantly, we're hearing from a lot of mental health experts these days that are saying a lot of them are referring to it as a crisis. We're seeing rates of depression and suicidal ideation and all kinds of problems. And I think, again, we're all aware of that. I'm sorry, I'll lean forward here. So I can tell you it's a crisis in our house for sure. Like, I have these daily battles with my kids. They're sneaking around, trying to be on their phones, and I try to hold the line, and I feel like I know how to handle kids, and man, it's a battle. And I bet a lot of us, who have kids share that battle as well, and those concerns. So I think moving towards a policy where, at least in schools, we can really be supporting, teachers and the importance of education, at least 8 hours of the day, our kids can't be on their phones. So I'm happy to report, in all my experience with kids up until very recently, and with my own kids, when they are forced to put away their phones, they still like playing and being outside and being social. So that's great. My older son just returned from a 3-week adventure travel trip in Hawaii. They had to put their phones away the whole time. And going into it, he was like, what am I going to do? And then when he came home, he was just, he was a changed person, and he got sucked back into his phone. But unfortunately, it can be done. And, kids will always return to a love of nature and a love of playing and just the things that kids have done for millennia. I think it's scary. We all know, like, the algorithms that programmers design in school, in phones. It's designed as this perverse incentive where they're trying to keep everybody online as long as possible, and kids, And is that a minute? Whoa. Okay. So.
Yep. Your time's up, sir. Thank you.
It is. Wow, that went fast. Okay. Thank you.
Next is Cindy Leary.
Hi, I'm Cindy Leary. I'll try and channel some of Porter's extra comments, but I completely agree and support everything that Porter just kind of communicated.
Sorry to interrupt. Could you spell your name for us real quick?
Sorry. So Cindy, Cindy, Leary, Leary. My children go to, I have an 11-year-old and a 13-year-old. They go to Paxson and Washington Middle School. And I just wanted to support everything that Porter just said, and to kind of increase, or just to keep that going by just citing that, just recently, if you're not aware, the Surgeon General, Dr. Vivek Murthy, just pushed for a warning label on all social media sites. And these are based on, numerous epidemiological studies showing severe, increases in mental health problems in children, specifically under 18. Teachers and administrators are increasingly pressured to monitor the use of these devices. And if we had just a specific rule, just like Porter was citing, if there's just a no question that these are not allowed, then teachers are freed up to be able to do other things other than having to monitor the use of these devices. So I think some of this idea that it's going to be more work for the teachers could be, actually, I feel like it could be just the opposite, that it might be freeing for them to not have to deal with this if it's just a black box that these devices go in as they walk into the school. Experts advise to set clear boundaries. Just as Porter said, we have all dealt with this at home, having problems with our children on devices, and there's a time and place for them, but setting these clear boundaries, and I think that a clear policy across MCPS would be really helpful to all teachers and parents. And please don't allow these commercially driven algorithms to pull our children away from our amazing education that we've worked so hard to create for these children, and all of the financial investment that we've put into this that's just being detracted away from their experience. So thank you.
Lindsay Watkins.
Hi, my name is Lindsay Watkins, LindsayWatkins, and I'm here in support of the cell phone ban. I have 3 young children, and I just kind of wanted to wrap up what Cindy and Porter said. We know our kids are in danger, and we know they aren't learning. We know our teachers deserve better, and we also know that we can do something about it, because we have been researching what can be done all summer. We have reviewed policies from all over the world, talked with superintendents and teachers from all over the country, had conversations with community members, received letters of support from organizations like the United Way, the City County Health Department, social workers, pediatricians, and other stakeholders, and we have people ready to participate in panels. We have drafted a well-researched policy, and we want to work with you, not against you. It will be hard, and there will be crabby people, but at the end of the day, we have no choice, and we have no excuse for inaction.
Emily Brock Gibson.
Hi, my name is Emily Brock Gibson. I have 3 children, one at Paxson, another entering Paxson, and one at Washington.
Could you spell your name for us real quick? Emilybrockgibson. First of all, thank you for your service. I know it was a really hard year last year with the budget cuts, and I think you guys did a really great job. I know that it feels like a lot of times, a lot of issues always fall on schools. I know that happens with like free meals. During the pandemic, we were all here, getting our kids vaccinated. And I just want to thank you and let you know that you're not alone in this issue that we're bringing before you today. We have your back. It is a national issue. There's bipartisan legislation passed the Senate today with one of the most conservative senators and one of the most liberal senators teaming up to help protect our kids online. I know that you have a really great collaborative relationship with your administration. I worked in local government for about 15 years, and I know that it's critical that the policymakers and the administration work together. I would ask that as this moves forward, which I hope that it will, and the administration takes a lead in that, that if priorities shift and it starts to lose momentum, that you as the policymakers hold the administration accountable to pushing this policy forward and bringing it to you in the timeline that I think is going to be presented next month by our superintendent. So thank you. Finish writing my name and sign. Jennifer Boyer will be next.
Hello, and thanks for all you guys do. I'm Jennifer Boyer, Jennifer Boyer. Smartphone Free Schools is a working group in Missoula County, working group of Missoula County School District mothers, fathers, caregivers, and teachers. Our goal is to work with Superintendent Hill and you guys to implement a district-wide smartphone policy to stop all use of smartphones, smartwatches, and earbuds by students during school hours. I'm going to start us off with some comments to support written by parents who responded to our survey regarding this issue. Please, 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 I implore our educators and parents to help change the culture around cell phones in schools. We are tired to death of the arguments, downsides, and mental health issues, not to mention the educational deficits our kids are experiencing. Schools around the country are starting to see a better way forward, and I hope MCPS can get on board immediately. Second comment is I am 100% in favor of a no smartphone policy at MCPS. My children are outliers in that they do not have phones and they feel daily pressure and are bullied by others who have them. Their words, not mine. They have shared that teachers will ask students who have phones to actively use them for support during class time and also encourage phone use during free time at school. This creates inequity, inconsistency, and also further alienates those who do not have them. I am 100% in favor of a blanket screen-free MCPS environment. I strongly support a phone-free policy at school, and I believe they shouldn't be allowed to bring them to school at all. It will take considerable effort from both schools and families, and there will be some who push back, but in the end, what should be most important is keeping kids focused on their education instead of Snapchat. Thanks.
Hans Hoffman.
Hello, it's Hans Hoffman, that's Hans Hoffman. I'm here in support of phone-free schools. First, my own comment. After this storm this past week, without internet for 2 days, I had one of the best experiences with my family that I've had in a long time. And wouldn't that be a great gift to give them in the school every day? Comments from other parents. Let's do this. Phones in schools are terrible for teachers, student mental health, and social human connection. We can do better. There's no way any of us would vote to put a television on each desk, but instead we've stuck one in every pocket and allowed kids to use them all day long. Another parent says, I was going to make a meeting with the principal to ask how we can make the school phone free. I think it's essential for both kids and teachers to learn, teach, and create a healthy environment in all ways. I am all for smartphone-free schools. Implementing a smartphone-free school can only enhance focus and learning by reducing distractions. I can see it being challenged by parents when communication and emergency access may arise. Most, if not all, challenges can be addressed with clear policies and alternative solutions. One more parent said, thank you for doing this. I just sent a letter to CS Porter last week about cell phone use in schools. They never responded. Thank you.
Jessica Vizzuti.
Am I on? Okay. Hi, Jessica Vizzuti, Jessica Vizzutti. First, thank y'all for taking time tonight to hear from everybody. I think we should count ourselves lucky that our community is so excited to be here. So I'm going to just continue the marathon of parent comments. You fully have our support. Next parent, thanks for pursuing this. Next parent, thank you for organizing this. Thank you for spearheading this. Please ban phones in schools. They are not needed. Thanks for starting and leading the charge. Our kids are worth it. Thanks for putting this forward in a constructive way. I would fully support much stricter smartphone guidelines in Missoula County Public Schools. Next parent says, I am just finding out about this and delighted to know that there are other parents out there that are taking a stand and helping make change happen. The next parent says, I highly support your efforts. Thank you. Another, thank you for addressing this. Please make schools phone free. Next person says, this is encouraging to see. It will take a collective effort to make the changes that are necessary for our kids. And my last person here says, thank you for working to address this critical issue. So, thank you very much.
Sarah Millar.
Sarah Millar, Sarehmillar. I am here to continue to read some parent comments from the survey. I'm so glad we are doing this. Please stay focused on the fact that there's tons of evidence proving smartphones and social media are terrible for our students, and resist the pushback from the parents who will likely throw the biggest fit to lose the convenience of access to their child, but this is best for the greater good. As a former school psychologist, current counselor, and parent, I believe this is a great idea. Our children need this. Schools are learning environments, and I believe children already spend too much time on screens while just in school. I believe learning how to have a healthy relationship with technology can start with showing what focus time looks like without the screens. I'm all for using tech as a tool, but kids do not need access to a smartphone during class. Let them focus on the teacher, student interaction, and learning. I worked for several years in marketing and social media in the public health field. I can attest that social media and smartphones are not designed to support long-term concentration. They are designed to keep you looking at the device. I don't believe kids should be able to bring smartphones into the classroom. I would like kids to leave phones at home or in their cars during school. While each kid is unique in their ability to manage the responsibility of a smartphone, I fully support a smartphone-free school policy. Thank you for doing this. The research is telling us how detrimental smartphone use is, not only for kids, but adults too. We need to be paying attention. And the last comment, I would like to be involved and advocate for screen-free classrooms, not just smartphone-free classrooms. Our children's mental health and ability to socialize and their interest in learning is at stake if we don't do something to limit screen time. Most kids are already getting way too much at home, and they don't need it at school too.
Anne Touchette.
Hi, my name is Anne Touche, ANNETOUCHETTE. This group surveyed over 200 teachers. We got a lot of comments, and so I'm going to read a few of them. But I wanted to say, I was ready to pick up this issue myself. I work in news, broadcast news. I have reported on so many stories. You've all read them. You know the data. You know the science. I had a teacher from Arizona who left the profession. He was in his early 30s. He was starting a family, and he just couldn't wage the war in school anymore. He spent most of his time trying to teach his students how to monitor themselves, what the upsides were of taking a break from social media, et cetera. He just got to the point where the actual subject that he was teaching, science, wasn't getting taught at all, and he felt like he was doing a huge disservice to his students. He's left the profession, and I don't think it's any secret to any of you that your teachers are exhausted, they're burned out, and we should all be acting like this building is on fire, because that's how we are in a crisis. Porter said it really well. All right, first comment. This year, more than any other year, cell phones have been a major detriment to having a focused student body. The freshman class is less respectful than other classes to adhering to classroom policies. A district policy would be most beneficial, but if not that, at least a building-wide policy. Currently at Hellgate, students are subject to 7 different phone policies during the day. This is an absurd expectation. I am so appreciative of you taking this issue seriously. One other benefit that I want to note is that I feel that this is a really low-cost way to improve the experience of teachers. Competing with cell phones for attention of students is impossible, and at times makes me feel miserable about my own skills. I feel like this job would be greatly improved if a restriction on cell phones is enacted district-wide. Thank you for taking this seriously. Smartphones are harming students' educational experience and demoralizing staff. Much appreciation for doing this. Thank you. I think students are addicted to their smartphones and have forgotten how to be patient and wait for something. It all affected their attention spans. Think of how short a TikTok video is, for example. We are losing the ability to stay focused on something for more than 10 or 15 minutes in the classroom. I think we need to do something about cell phone usage district-wide. It's a huge issue. Thank you for doing this. Good luck with this needed intervention. This is a great idea. I've also been a proponent of the philosophy of teaching students to use their phones for good. However, it has become glaringly evident to me that today's students are truly addicted to their phones and have no ability to manage their use. I feel that cell phones are a problem even when hands-on project-based classroom learning is happening. It is an absolute losing battle.
Keisha Kuipers.
Hello, I'm Keisha Kuipers. It's spelled Keetje, last name Kui, P as in Peter, ERS as in Sam. I'm the mother of an 11-year-old and a 4-year-old. I also have nearly 20 years experience teaching undergraduates at the college level, and for that reason, I'm incredibly sympathetic to anyone who's had to teach in a classroom without a strong, clear, easily enforceable, and uniform policy eliminating phones from classrooms. I'm going to pick up where Anne left off and share more comments from MCPS teachers who responded to our working group survey. In the interest of time, I'm not going to read the many thanks and messages of general support and enthusiasm we received. Here are the words of our amazing and embattled MCPS teachers. Get them out. There needs to be a full district-wide policy on cell phones. I love this. Get rid of phones during the school day. It would help on so many levels, emotionally, academically, and social skills and personal growth would dramatically improve. A stronger district policy would be so beneficial. There are no benefits to cell phones in classes. The research is clear. Cell phones and social media are harmful to adolescent brain development. I believe smartphones are the primary reason why so many kids are battling anxiety. While I have a classroom phone policy, it feels nearly impossible to enforce. First, phones are not the only behaviors I must address each period. If I do decide it's a battle I have the energy to fight, half the time it turns into more of an ordeal than it's worth. Students will lie that they were not on it, despite it being quite obvious, and just when the conversation has been resolved, I will turn around to yet another student on their phone. It's never ending. The phone zombie apocalypse is here. I'm glad I'm retiring.
Emily Walter.
Hi, my name is Emily, E-M-I-L-Y, last name Walter, W-A-L-T-E-R. I have the fortunate opportunity to be a teacher that gets to go into MCPS schools for 12 weeks at a time. I work for Missoula Writing Collaborative, and I've been working in education and writing for 20 years. So I have the wonderful opportunity to remember before cell phones. And I am going to read in just a moment a person who is young and who is now not working in the school because of the frustration and the real emotional toll that cell phones have had on them. So this is not me, but it is a quote, and here we go. Students use their phones to communicate with others, sometimes leading to drama that distracts them from what's currently going on in class. They are also impacted socially in the sense that I've seen an entire room of 25 students eerily silent, all eyes glued to their phones. I could keep going on, but what it boils down to is this. Phones are without a doubt negatively impacting education and social development. I fully support an overarching policy. I could not be more in favor of getting these devices out of school, period. I am taking at least a year off from teaching, largely as a result of the influence phones and social media have had on students' brains in my classroom. My responses to these questions may sound extreme, but they are based on a year of considering how big of a problem phones are and the extent to which they are ruining our students' childhoods, sense of selves, and attention spans. There is absolutely no reason we need phones in schools. If we don't get phones out of the classroom, the education system will not last. It is cracking. We are cracking. Thank you.
Morgan Slumberger.
We had a little order, so I was supposed to go toward the bottom, but that's okay. And I can't read and write at the same time, so forgive me. Okay, Morgan Slemberger, Morgan. I spelled it with an E once by accident in third grade. It was embarrassing. And Slemberger. I am a member of the Smartphone Free Schools Parent-Teacher Working Group. My husband is a high school teacher at Hellgate High School, and I have 2 kids at Lewis and Clark Elementary. This group has been meeting nearly every Monday for the month of June. In spite of summer activities, and our group meetings have been 4 to 20 people at any given meeting. We have surveyed, we have researched policies, we have drafted a policy, we have researched implementation, we have researched education for families, designed frequently asked questions, gathered letters of support, and conducted outreach to multiple community stakeholders. We have intentionally tried to make your jobs to enact a policy as easy as possible because we know how often it can feel impossible to do the work that you all do here, especially considering the last few years. I know you've been put through the ringer. So we were overwhelmed by the 144 teacher responses and the 249 parent responses we received when we originally surveyed. So I'm going to share a bit about those results with you today. First, I'd like to discuss the case for student education and well-being alone. The majority of Missoula parents and teachers are worried about smartphones and their effect on the well-being of youth. According to our recent survey, 87% of teachers believe smartphones are harmful to kids' social and emotional well-being, and 64% of parents agree. 75% of teachers believe smartphones are preventing kids from receiving a quality education, and 70% of parents agree. These are large majorities. 92% of teachers state that smartphones and devices distract students at least once per day, and 81% of teachers cite 2 or more students being affected by one misuse of a smartphone. As you can see, smartphones and devices are truly getting in the way of our kids' social and emotional and educational well-being. Next, I'd like to address the business case. OPI cites Montana's teacher turnover rate at 12.5% in 2023, although I've seen numbers as high as 30%, and I know you probably know these numbers far better than I do. When the comment sections of our teacher survey, that you've just witnessed some of them, and there are more to come, highlighted this deep despair about or early retirement or teachers quitting because of smartphones and the discipline that they had to endure and implement. It really gave us all pause. I've spent my career working with businesses across the state, and I just wonder how much a policy like this might benefit the ratio of turnover in which you're seeing.
Sorry, your time is up.
Okay, thank you.
Casey Rosetto?
Casey Rosetto, Casey Rossetto. So I'm going to read a teacher comment. The problem, teacher pay and retention. 2 years ago, I had a sophomore student throw me up against the wall because I put his phone in my desk drawer. That same year, a different sophomore student's mother came into my classroom unannounced, swearing at me because I had put her son's phone in my drawer. There are so many challenges because we do not have a strong phone school district policy. Students know that, and there are no real consequences to having phones out. Therefore, they constantly use them. They also know that they can simply leave the classroom and use the bathroom, where they can be on their phones endlessly. Some students just plain refuse to get off their phones, and realistically, there's nothing that I can do. It is an endlessly exhausting battle, and one challenge has to do with my own motivation. Thank you.
Erica Peterman?
Hi, thank you all for serving on the school board. My name is Erica Peterman, Erikapeterman. I strongly believe that the moral test of any community is how well it protects its children, and I believe we are failing. But that a community-wide effort will set us on track. The Montana Constitution guarantees a quality public education for Montana's kids. However, the majority of parents and teachers that we survey say that the current electronic device policy at MCPS prevents kids from receiving this quality education. The data is also clear that social media and smartphones distract from learning, that they disrupt social interactions, and are a major cause of rising mental health issues. When we showed the administration this data, you all said, "Oh, you don't need to convince us. We all know how bad it is." Therefore, when I get emails from this administration that essentially say, "Thank you for your passion, but we got this," I'm skeptical because the current policy contradicts the data you all believe in, but also because none of us have this. Not parents, not teachers, not this administration, and certainly not our kids, whose brains are still developing and now rewiring as a part of this horrible social experiment that we're putting them through. Technology is too strong and too addictive by design. Standing up to big tech seems overwhelming and complicated also by design. Imagine if in high school we were playing video games or watching TV or taking photos of our teachers or other kids and passing them around. If we were listening to Walkmans, if we were reading 17 magazine, if we were looking at Playboys. Just one of these things would have gotten us into trouble. Yet we are willing to look the other way when they're all happening at once inside of a smartphone. When I got into trouble for passing notes in class, and I always did, it was because I was in school, and school is where we learn. That's the whole point of being in school. There are certain social and civic rules we are expected to follow because they maintain order and achieve those objectives. These rules prepare us for work and citizenship. They promote economic well-being and the common good. And when we don't have rules, or they're not enforced or not supported, it is unsettling for the whole community, especially for kids who feel unsafe when it seems like no one is in charge. And when we no longer have rules about attendance, when we no longer care if our teachers are able to teach, we're not only giving up on our kids, but we're giving up on our communities. And our public schools create those communities. The more time that goes by where kids aren't looking up from their phones and seeing other kids who talk, walk, and act differently than they do, the more they aren't engaging in the classrooms with their peers, the more our communities fall apart because we don't even know who's in our communities anymore. And we need our community to do more. And so we ask you that a community-wide effort be made to educate parents and teachers about the harms of smartphones and social media, that your own surveys and research be conducted, and that a smartphone policy that bans smartphones and watches and earbuds is implemented by January 1st.
Your time's up.
Thank you.
Molly Norton.
It's MOLLYNORTON. Okay, my name's Molly Norton. I'm an ELA teacher at Washington Middle School, and I'm also a parent of a child at Lewis and Clark. And I've been a teacher here at MCPS for almost 20 years. I know I look young. But for the last 10 years of my almost 2 decades, I've seen such a change in my kids. I'm pretty goofy, and I like to be silly in my classroom. I sing, I dance, I carry stuffed animals, and now kids don't even look up. And it makes me cry. It is so devastating. And I think we've heard the evidence, and I want to share some more anecdotes that will probably make you want to cry too. I had a student who regularly fell asleep in both my morning and afternoon class. When I asked him why he had trouble staying awake, he told me that he goes to bed at 3 a.m. every single night. He plays video games. He doesn't remember the last time he went to bed before 1. I can't teach students who are asleep. Reading comprehension, I love to read. I love to read aloud. It has dramatically decreased among my students. When I started almost 20 years ago, I'd get a couple readers, but now kids rather just doom scroll instead of read for any kind of pleasure. They don't even have the attention span to read for more than 5 minutes. Their writing skills have also gotten dramatically worse every year. These educational gaps will continue to increase if we don't do something, if we don't get them to put down their phones and pick up a book. And there's so many beautiful books out there. Students, like I've mentioned, are isolated and depressed. In the last 10 years, I've had many students discuss suicidal ideation with me. They casually throw out terms like KMS, kill myself. That didn't used to happen. Many students self-harm. I see the scars literally every day. I've had multiple students be admitted to the ER hospital due to suicide attempts. Secondary trauma is real. It's not hopeless, though. I have students who willingly give me their smartphones and their watches when they come to my class simply because they like me and they want to please me and they want to learn. And they say, Ms. Norton, I like you. I want to enjoy class today. Here you go. They know they are addicted and they're zombies and they need our help. And I'm asking you, please, let's be the grown-ups and let's help them. They want this help. They want to get better. So please, let's do it. Thank you.
Is there anyone who would like to speak on a non-agenda item tonight whose name I have not yet called? Please approach the little table, sign in, and say and spell your name for us.
Sign first.
Yes, please.
Sorry, I'm going quick. Hi, my name is Brandon Prinzing, BRANDON PRINZING. I'll make my comment short. I'm a father of two. They're sitting back there. They're MCPS students. This device here, oops, sorry. This device here, the 40 or 50 adults in this room can barely use this device responsibly, including myself. How can I expect my 13 and 10-year-old son and daughter to do the same? In school, no less. Smartphones are an incredibly powerful and also equally terrifying device. This is our big tobacco moment. I kindly ask the school board to do the hard thing and be true community leaders and support this movement. Thank you.
Is there anyone else who'd like to speak? Please come up and sign in, and then say and spell your name.
Off. My name is Bo Larkin, Beaularkin. Thank you for the opportunity. I just heard about this group a few days ago, but I've been thinking about this issue for a long time, so I was pleased to know that a group was involved. And again, thank you for the opportunity for all of us and for myself to speak. My comment, I just think about my own kids, and the reason I've thought about this issue for years, my kids are 8 and 6 and go to Lewis and Clark. The golden years, right? The best years, 8 and 6. Neither of them have phones. They don't have smartwatches. We have a lot of fun as a family together. And like any parent of kids this age, I think about them growing up. And there's a sadness to it because they're going to learn about the bad things in the world and things that little kids don't spend their day thinking about. That's a normal part of growing up, but as parents, we're sometimes sad about that. I also think about the day when they're being bullied on social media or not learning in school because they're addicted to their phones. My wife and I say, our kids are going to be fine. We'll control these phones at home. I know that it's going to be hard, and we might not be able to pull it off. So I'm thankful for this group trying to advance this issue. I hope that the school board will take it very seriously. I will say, too, that I'm not the only parent who thinks about, if this continues to get bad and we can't and our kids aren't learning in schools, can we look for alternatives to enroll our kids in other schools outside of the school district where they won't have phones and where they'll have a better educational experience? So this is all stuff probably worth thinking about. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Any further comment?
Am I on? Okay. My name is Nicole Vanek, Nicole, last name Vanek. I'll be brief as well because I wasn't prepared to speak. I came to sit and support, but I have to, after hearing all of those other fabulous speakers, just say my piece real quick, and I'll come back a little bit more prepared next month. Thank you all for your service to this school board. I am a teacher, a 5th grade teacher here in Missoula. I teach at Lewis and Clark Elementary. I'm also a parent of 2 MCPS children. I have a rising 5th grader at Lewis and Clark and a rising 7th grader at Washington Middle School. And I can tell you just firsthand that this is an issue not just in middle school, not just in high school. It's an issue in our elementary schools, and I see it getting worse every year. And it is so hard to be a teacher that wants to do something about it and not have a strong backing from the district, because I wish I could divide myself in two and be in the room and count the number of times I had to say, put your watch away. I was just checking the time. No, you weren't. I can't tell you how many assemblies that I couldn't enjoy because I had to be looking to make sure that students in our elementary school weren't on their watch instead of watching the amazing performance that was happening before them or that they were participating in. This is an issue, it's a crisis, like many people before have said, and I really, really am expecting swift and strong action from the school board, from our administration, so that our kids can learn and us teachers can teach. Thank you.
Would anyone else like to speak? No further public comment.
All right. So now we'll move on to item 6, our reports and announcements. And we have reviewed the Health Insurance Trust Fund report, and there's no oral report. And now I'll turn it over to Superintendent Hill for superintendent announcements.
All right. First thing, I just wanted to brief the board on the aftermath of the storm and how that's impacted the district. We did end up having to cancel a day of Jumpstart summer school programming, and we'll have to make that up to make sure that we meet our 120 hours so that we're able to get the A and B for student participation, but we're working on that plan. Lots of tree damage, in case anybody noticed, around the valley, but our worst locations were Big Sky and Cold Springs. Big Sky probably has 20 40-foot plus trees that were knocked down in the storm, significant damage there. We had some facility damage. We had a brand new shed over at Sentinel that was blown across the field and through the fencing at the softball complex and destroyed the shed. Our track got tore up by bleachers that were catapulted across the fields. We had an HVAC unit on top of one of our schools that got blown over. We also had maybe some unrelated damage. We're not really sure, but we had a significant water leak at Willard and a water issue with our fire suppression system at Chief Charlo. When the power goes out and those things are set on a pump, it caused some damage, but we're getting all of those things taken care of. We had some server damage, but our IT department was quick to respond, and we're pretty much everybody's back up to speed up and running. So a lot of thanks to our IT team. Just a special thank you to Burley, McWilliams, Scott Courtney, Terry Phelan, Stacy Rossmiller, our grounds, custodial, maintenance, and security teams. They all put in extra time. They worked overtime over the weekend, working to get things back up and running, getting our grounds back into shape. There's a lot to do, but we feel like it's pretty much under control, and goal is to have everything hopefully back by the time school opens, but there is a large demand for people to remove trees and ginormous stumps and repair fencing, and so we're going to be kind of in the queue for getting those things taken care of. Also, sometimes these things turn out to be a little bit more of a blessing. We've had an opportunity to partner with some community organizations, letting them use our facilities to help support our community for water, ice. We've been allowing the Forest Service access to Jeanette Rankin property to set up temporary field camps for their firefighters. I've told that they've departed from that because they've reached a certain containment level, but just an opportunity for us to engage with our community. So I was glad about that. And to steal a little bit of my thunder, I guess I would like to thank those community members who came tonight to share their desire that we consider a smartphone ban policy. I communicated directly with a couple of the people in their group and said that we would utilize our process and timeline for creating such a policy, but we would welcome them back to a board meeting to share their perspective. I am grateful for the work that they've done. They've been putting out surveys, they've been hosting informal gatherings, as they talked about, and I think it's clear that they're eager to partner with us on this and be part of the solution. So there will be more on that to come in future meetings. Just a quick update, we continue to hire staff. Right now we have 12 certified or teaching positions open to fill across the district, 9 custodial. 2 food service positions, and 11 paraprofessionals. So we're sitting at, where we're sitting this year right now compared to last year, I think we had about 80 positions overall that were still open at this time last year. So needless to say, Mr. Lebowski is feeling a lot less stressed right now than he normally would be. Yeah, it's not coming back. So we'll be having new staff orientation August 14th and 15th for certified staff. And then our paraprofessional staff and classified staff will do an orientation August 22nd. Other than that, it's been really quiet around here. Not really. But we're 4 weeks away from school starting, just a couple weeks away from having all of our admin team back. So lots of preparation. We're just busy getting everything ready for the new school year.
Can someone explain to me what the kindergarten schedule is going to be? Because I know I'm about to get blown up by kindergarten parents for the start of school as compared to last year.
Meg, are you referencing the first week?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so we got feedback. We visited with kindergarten teams, admin, and then we discussed as a group. Micah got quite a bit of feedback, some negative in terms of what last year looked like. I think one of the challenges last year was we came back with the 4 days, and so it felt long for families not to have their kids going earlier. So for kindergarten and early literacy, they actually all have different schedules than 1st through 5th at the K-5 level. So kindergarten on Wednesday, they will do their assessments with kiddos, welcome kiddos into the building. They'll have a chance to meet with them, meet with families. Thursday will be their day to build classrooms, and then they'll start up on Friday. Friday will be a half day for them, and then their full first day will be the Tuesday after Labor Day. There's always the balance of trying to make sure that you, as best you can, balance the classrooms and do your best to make sure that across your classrooms at the kindergarten level they feel equitable, that they feel like they're balanced for students so that they have the most positive experience their first year, but then also understanding that their stamina the first few weeks, Meg, you live it with Parks and Rec and younger kiddos, that stamina the first few weeks when they come into school is not what it will be mid-year or at the end of the year. So we cut a day. That was one of the requests Micah had talked to the group, was just last year felt like too many days with students not going and getting into a rhythm. So getting them in that first week, that Friday as a half day, and then starting them up full on that Tuesday after Labor Day, we hope is a little bit of a better balance for families. Early literacy will have, it'll look similar in terms of bringing them in on Thursday. Friday will be their first half day, and then they'll start up that Tuesday afterward. We've checked, like we said, we had conversations with our union president, with our union team, just trying to find the balance as best we could, because we know it's asking a lot that first week for families that work, but also excited about getting their kiddos into the school.
Trustee Witt.
This is probably for Trevor, but out of the positions that are still open, do we have any of them that are looking like they're going to be very hard to fill? Because we've had a couple of those in the last year, and it's not fun. So, any of those?
Yes. Most notably, Sealy still needs a music teacher. I think that's probably one of the more difficult ones. From the paraprofessional standpoint, of all the positions that Micah mentioned, only one is a resource para. The rest are all center-based, which is really challenging. So we might not have 62 vacant para positions as compared to last year at this time, but they're pretty critical. So those are our focus right now.
Okay, now we'll move on to 7, which is the consent agenda. There is no board discussion as these are routine items. Is there a full board motion to approve the consent agenda? Moved by Vice Chair Afgaris, second by Trustee Wallach. There is no board discussion. Any public comment on this agenda item? All those in favor for approving the consent agenda, please indicate yes by raising your hand. Unanimous to all trustees present. So now we'll move on to new business, and first up is to approve non-resident enrollments for 2024-2025 school year, and this is over to you, Superintendent Hill.
Thank you. This is going to become a little bit more of a routine procedure for us, thanks to the change in the law for enrollment of non-resident students in our district. And so we'll present to you a list of students who have, through application, been approved to attend. By vetting through our offices, they have to turn in certain paperwork and records, academic records, behavioral records, et cetera, and you have a de-identified list of students that we're asking you to approve.
All right, there'll be two motions, an elementary and then a secondary. Is there an elementary motion to approve the recommendation? Moved by trustee Walsh, second by trustee Witcher. Any final trustee comments? Any public comment on this agenda item? All elementary trustees in favor for approving the recommendation, please indicate yes by raising your hand. Unanimous to all elementary trustees present. Is there a high school board motion to approve those enrollment requests? Moved by trustee Wake, second by Vice Chair F. Garris. Any final trustee comments? Any public comment? All those in favor for approving the high school board motion, please indicate yes by raising your hand. Unanimous to all trustees present. And now we'll move on and there'll be two recommendations, and I'll turn it over to you, Mr. Lebowski.
Yep, pretty standard report for this time of the year. A lot of summer positions, more than normal, I think partly because of Jumpstart.
Any questions from a trustee? Seeing none, is there an elementary motion to approve the personnel report? Moved by Vice Walsh. Any final trustee comments? Any public comments? All elementary trustees in favor for approving the personnel report, please indicate yes by raising your hand. Unanimous to all elementary trustees present is our high school motion to approve the personnel report. Moved by trustee Wake, second by trustee Wallach. Any final comments by a trustee? Any public comments? All those in favor for approving the high school personnel report, please indicate yes by raising your hand. Unanimous to all trustees present. And now we'll move on to topic 2, which is to ratify a one-year agreement with professional specialists. This is back to you, Mr. Lebowski.
Yeah, thank you. First off, I'd like to thank Pat McHugh for all his work with all the negotiations, because it takes an incredible amount of time to put that together. So thanks, Mr. McHugh. It is. With the professional specialists and really all the groups for the most part, what we've tried to move away from is percentage increases and look at either flat dollar amounts or an increase to the hourly rate. So basically what we're trying to do is, 3% for someone who's making a lot of money is a lot of money. 3% for someone who's not making a lot of money is not a lot of money. So we're trying to raise up the lower paid positions in the district. So with this group, this translated into a $1.10 per hour increase, with one exception to a position that we basically needed to rectify a disparity. And then, as with all the groups, $673 is the current, or last year's district contribution to the insurance, and that moves to $706, so it's a $33 per employee increase.
Any trustee questions? This is a full board motion. Is there a motion to approve the recommendation? Moved by trustee Wake, second by trustee Hayes. I'll get it. All right, any final trustee comments? Any public comment? All those in favor for approving the recommendation, please indicate yes by raising your hand. Unanimous to all trustees present. And now we'll move on to approve the one-year agreement with the exempt Met and Cutfer employee group, and this is back to you, Mr. Lebowski.
Yeah, thank you. Similar with this group, this was a little bit different, mostly because we had a Fair Labor Standards Act rule change that said for folks who are considered exempt from overtime, that there's a minimum salary that goes along with that. So that was $58,656. So we had to adjust quite a few salaries to meet that level. So we saw increases ranging from 3.5 to 6.5%, depending upon the position.
Any trustee questions? Seeing none, this is a full board motion. Is there a motion to approve the recommendation? Moved by trustee Wake, second by trustee Walsh. Any final trustee comments? Any public comments? All those in favor of approving the recommendation, please indicate yes by raising your hand. Unanimous to all trustees present. Now we're back to topic 4, which is the employee handbook for 2024-2025, and back to you, Mr. Lebowski, and this is information only.
Yep, thank you. You have the link available to you. There were very few changes this year compared to last year, mostly surrounding the change to the uniform grievance policy and a little bit with Title IX. As you heard from Bia, there's some changes that are in place and there are some that are not going in place quite yet. So fairly minor changes.
Any trustee questions or comments? Seeing none, any public comment? All right, so now we'll move on to topic 5, which is student handbook. This is information only, and back to you, Superintendent Hill.
Thank you. The links are available in the packet, so hopefully you've had a chance to review that. One of the things that we worked on based on feedback from last year was consolidating our handbook so that we had uniformity in policies across schools, when you have 9 different schools, things like the ability for the principal to personalize it with information specific to their school. So that's the change for elementary school. Same with middle school, one consistent handbook across the district. And then high schools have always had a consistent handbook. Well, maybe not always, but Amy assured me that most recently it's been, for a while. So we've moved and would stand for any questions.
Any trustee questions or comments? Trustee Mercer.
Do they say anything about cell phones now?
Actually, they do. Yeah, and we actually have a district-wide policy for cell phones. I'm going to, is it 5320, I think is the policy reference number, where basically it says, students shouldn't have cell phones out, be using them during class time, and then has various levels of enforcement depending on school and location. So primarily left up to the teacher's discretion because they might use the cell phone as a tool within their classroom. So, yeah.
Any other trustee questions or comments? Seeing none, any public comment? Seeing none. All right, we'll move on to topic 6, which is the approval of 5, and this is over to you, Assistant Sup Giamona.
All right, this has become a standard process for us, so nothing atypical about this request to the board tonight.
All right, it's an elementary motion. Is there move second final trustee comments? Any public comment? All elementary trustees in favor for approving a recommendation, please indicate yes by raising your hand. Unanimous to all trustees present. And so now move to Board of Trustees. And the first one up is the vacant high school District D update, and we don't have no applications. And we did extend the deadline to August 8th at 12 p.m. So if you guys know anybody in that area, please share our application. We're a great group, someone who wants to work with us, and we will. You guys have received a meeting invite for Thursday, August 8th at 5 p.m. And that's to interview applicants who may apply. So hopefully we get 10 people. If nothing is received, the meeting will be canceled and Missoula County Superintendent Aaron Lipkin will be notified and assume the responsibility of filling the vacant position. Any questions or comments? Superintendent Hill.
I would just say that we have noticed this in the paper. We have sent out mailers to the communities. that would have representation. We've talked to administrators. We've been trying to find someone who's willing to put in for this well-paying job, but have not yet had any success. So.
All right, so that was information only. And next up, we'll do the Montana School Board Association resolutions. And Vice Chair Walker Andrews is not here. Is anybody else going to speak on this, or do I have to just read? Just read what's on here? Okay. Remind trustees that this item was discussed by Vice Chair Walker Andrews during the June 25th meeting. The MTSB ballot is due July 31st, and Vice Chair Walker Andrews had made arrangements with Trustee Wake to complete the ballot on the board's behalf due to her absence. Based upon Vice Chair Walker Andrews' recommendation, the agenda items do not need to be voted upon as individual items. Please see the recommendation and ask for any questions from the trustees. Okay, so it's a full board motion. Is there any questions or comments before we move to make a motion? Seeing none, so it's a full board motion for all the ballot items. Is there a motion from a trustee? Moved by Vice Chair F. Garrett, second by Trustee Wake. Any final comments from a trustee? None. All right, all those in favor, or any public comment? All those in favor for approving the recommendation, please indicate yes by raising your hand. Unanimous to all trustees present. It is 7:18 and we are adjourned, everybody. Thank you.
Thanks, Lauren.